Hey, so I just wanted to make another quick video. This one I think will be quick, about an issue that I've found myself having with the spiritual community that I'm guessing a lot of people can relate to. And that is the use of the word love for everything. Like, be in love, live in love, act from love, all this stuff. Language is very limiting. Language is also something that's really personal and evocative for all of us. You know, it's what you're saying to yourself and what those words mean to you that produce feelings. And so love might be the wrong word for you. It is the wrong word for me. The word love has been too heavily associated in my life with romantic love. So anytime I hear that word used in sort of a more spiritual sense, it always rubs me the wrong way. I don't know why. But there are other words that also mean the same thing, that represent the same concept. You know, peace is one of them. Joy is one of them. Those are things that you can, you know, when you hear someone say, get into the vibration of love, you can also think of it as getting into the vibration of, you know, incredible, almost ecstatic peace, if that's not an oxymoron. You know, you have to make the language work for you in order to make the feelings be what they need to be for you, because none of this has anything to do with thinking. None of this has anything to do with words. It's all of those things are all a tool. They're all a kind of a shitty translator for the things that can't be put into words, which is what all this frequency, vibration, energy stuff is. It's right now the best thing we have to try to convey anything with it is words. And they fall short constantly. And, you know, every person has their entire life experience that's been lived through language and thinking in language. And so your life experience heavily colors in what the feelings you're going to have are when you think certain words. So keep that in mind, because that can be really difficult. If you understand that concept, if you understand that that's truth, then you can translate somebody else's attempt to convey something into your own language. You know, you can try to pick up what they're laying down and translate it into language that feels right for you, that's like resonating on the right level. If that makes any sense. And I think, you know, when you're resonating on the right level with something, when you feel just a deep sense of peace and relaxation in your solar plexus, this whole area. Like, when things there start feeling tense, that is, resistance. That's, which you shouldn't, resistance isn't just something to ignore. It's something to work through if it's blocking you from getting something that you want. But if you're feeling resistant to something, there could be a very good reason for that. So, you know, I guess this whole thing is a process of learning yourself. It's learning what things mean to you, and, you know, how you need to reorganize ideas that are coming in so that they make sense to you and you can use them. And learning your own body, this vehicle that you're in has a guidance system in it that is communicates to you in some way. And anytime I'm talking about this, I'm talking about it from my own perspective. For me, it is physical sensations. It's just, they have never led me astray. And now I used to ignore them all the time. It wouldn't necessarily, it's not like it leads to ruin. If your body is telling you not to do something, you do it anyway. It doesn't mean like something horrible is going to happen, but you basically have access to the best choice in the moment at any given time. And the indicator is there in your body somehow. It's there. It's accessible to you. And it's something that you can start to notice. Once the idea of that is in your head, there will come a moment when you become aware and notice something, and then you can sort of practice allowing that to happen more and more until it just becomes something second nature, where anytime you're making a decision or something, you can sort of consult your body, how you're feeling about it. And you can also start to pay attention to when that just happens, when you're not consulting your body. And sometimes you just have a reaction to something and you don't know why. It's not like you're analyzing something and, ooh, I had a bad feeling about that. You know, I've started to pay attention to this more and more. You know, I developed the skill in my late 20s of becoming very rational and logical as much as I could about things. Because I was a very emotional, impulsive person as like a teenager and an early 20s person. And so I purposely started to think more and pause and, you know, think before I spoke, think before I acted. Really, like, it took a long time too. You know, I would say I started doing that like when I was like 25, and it probably took till I was 35 to get to the point where I rarely did something stupid anymore. And I would say now it's just like it's, you know, I don't know, I just have this thing tuned at this point where I don't generally do things that I'm, you know, that end up in some, you know, regret, or end up in saying, you know, why didn't I think this through beforehand? It's really sucks too, because when I do, I kick myself so hard now. I'm just like, I can do better than this now, and I know it. And so it's, you know, that's the flip side of that. But anyone can start to develop this just by thinking about it, just by considering it, opening your mind to it. Opening your mind to things opens the door to you actually starting to experience them. You know what I mean? So, yeah. This whole thing is a process of figuring out how this works for you personally. You're different from every other person on the planet. So, you know, I think you can get stuff from my channel. I think you can get stuff from listening to my experience. But a lot of it is just going to be something that ignites something in you, an understanding for you about yourself that has nothing to do with me or what my understanding about myself was. So that's why I wanted to make this video talking about this, because the word love for me, I spent 30 years of my life, literally, I would say from age 10 until 40. I spent my life pursuing some sort of perfect romantic situation, thinking that it was going to provide everything that was missing from my life. And so for me, love, I have a tattoo. It is the kanji, I believe, the Japanese writing for love. It looks like a little dude wearing a hat. And I got it before people were doing that, by the way. I was a trendsetter. I got it in 1998, and that was before everybody was tattooing Japanese stuff on themselves. So I became a cliche against my own will a year after that, because then everybody started doing it. But yeah, I mean, that was like my thing. I was like, I'm here to find like the right guy, and I'm here to have this romantic love story, and that's the meaning of my life. Literally, I mean, I was saying this shit when I was 39. You know, that's the meaning. That's why I'm here. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. And I'm just so sick of it. Having gone through that 30 years, the word love has just been, it's not something that I want to associate with this wonderful and spiritual and just sort of blissful, peaceful, you know, part of my life and myself. It's just the wrong language. For me, it's, you know, blissful, peaceful, wonderful. It's connectedness. It's, you know, it's just all good things, basically. Whatever word could mean all good things. That's what resonates with me. So when I hear somebody say, you know, you need to, God, I have this like, blah, like when I hear somebody saying, you know, operate from love, I mentioned Pam Gregory, an astrologer that I like to listen to. I'm not into astrology. I just want to make that clear. I like listening to stuff about it, but I don't think you should get sucked into any kind of pendulum like that. That's just my opinion. But she's always talking about, she always uses the word love for everything, and how, step into the love or whatever. And for me, every time I hear it, I'm just like, blah. But if I hear, operate from the highest possible plane that you can reach mentally and vibrationally or whatever. When I hear that, that works, experience profound peace and interact with everybody that you run into throughout your day from a place of loving peace. That I can, being loving is different to me. Like, just the word love bothers me. Being kind and loving, or seeing people in their highest light purposely. Stuff like that I can get behind. So, yeah, I hope something in here helps somebody. I just wanted to talk about that because I think it is very easy for even very smart people who are very insightful and capable to get stuck on something like a small part of the English language or whatever language you speak. It can just be really easy when you're navigating this sort of unknown territory, or you're remembering yourself and what you are. It's so easy to just get snagged on something like the word love. And every time you try to operate from love, you're just like, this is nauseating. This feels like that is literally, the reaction I have to this operating from love thing. It just makes me think of the many, many years of having romantic relationships and like searching for this thing that did not exist. And so I guess that's all I have to say about that. And I hope that made a light bulb go on for one person. I will make a video every day for the rest of my life if it gets to one new person and does something beneficial. I don't even care what it is, even if it just entertains you and uplifts you for 10 minutes in your morning. I will do this every day if it has that benefit, because why not? I'm just sitting here talking. I even got my Diet Pepsi before I started talking today. Oh, and so I wanted to say something. I decided I was, going to say this at the end, because people don't, if anybody who's still here might give a shit. Everybody else has left. I was talking a few days ago about how I had felt this like groundswell of energy coming at me, and it coincided with something else. And I'm not sure if this something else caused it, because I don't really know where this huge creative energy just like appeared. But for like the last month or so, I'm still trying to work out, how do I eat? Because I've had this issue with like diet and my self-worth being placed on weight and all that stuff my whole life, essentially. And I'm finally coming out of that. You guys, the power of intention is amazing. It might take you a few years to work out something that you've been dealing with your whole life, but it will happen. It will happen if you really intend for it. I have seen so much change in this area in the last 4 years. And now I'm saying, now I'm at the point where I'm like, you couldn't pay me to go back to prior to 2021. You couldn't pay me enough, because the amount of peace and freedom I have attained from the intention to unwind all of this food and diet stuff has been, it's just been, whatever. The experience has been incredible. But so I'm still at the end, of this. I'm in the final, cleanup phase of this, I think. And so I've been trying to sort of, I'm just like, well, what do I do now? So I don't obsess over food ever anymore. I had a couple months ago, I was like, listen, self, you have to stop calculating the calories that are in everything that you eat. I would do that for everything. And I was just like, this is another thing that's got to go. I don't want to be this aware of this, which is my intention. My intention was, I want to be rid of this. I want to be a person that doesn't think about this. And so I'm like, you got to stop doing this. But so that leaves me with, what do I do then? Because, I don't know. I landed on, I really need to move to a whole foods diet and just sort of eat what I want from a whole foods diet. And so that was the idea that was just sort of rattling around my head, but it didn't sound very appealing, because even like 2 months ago, I was still eating garbage regularly. My cousin got me a Taco Bell gift card for Christmas because my ex and I were ordering Taco Bell like every day for lunch. And so anyway, I was like, I got to stop this. This doesn't have a place in a healthy mentality about this for me, because regardless of my issues with this stuff, I have a genuine desire to not fill my body with crap. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's another thing that's like some limiting belief that I'm going to have to get rid of, but I don't think so. I'm attracted to health. And so finally, this intention, this sort of like idea of Whole Foods just sort of started to solidify itself. I sort of suddenly realized that I could cook in my office. I don't have a kitchen there. But I do have like an area with a couple little mini fridges and a microwave and stuff set up. And I was like, well, I could bring a crock pot probably to work, and it would be it's kind of gross because like work is dirty. There's like dust everywhere and it gets dirty too fast to really keep it clean. So it's just kind of gross, and the kitchen area is kept cleaner, but the idea of cooking at work just kind of grossed me out. But I decided to just get over that. And I already had a hot plate there, like a burner and a pan. And basically everything I had was there. And so I just thought, I'm going to try making a pot roast in the crock pot at work. And I'm going to make it the way my mom made it when I was a kid. My mom made the most simple dinners when I was a kid, and they were so good. And over the years, I've like complicated stuff as I started, occasionally cooking stuff. I'm just like not somebody who cooks. I'm too tired at the end of the day to do it. I gave up on that completely. That was just never going to happen. And so it turns out that I can totally cook a delicious meal that has like 2 leftovers that's made of whole foods in my office. And I just don't know how did I never do this before? I've had my current office for 8 years. At any point in here, I could have been cooking. And also there's like no resistance to making meals in the morning for me because I'm wide awake, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. I'm a morning person. So of course I don't want to cook at like 4:30 in the afternoon when my day is over. I got up at 5 a.m. But at 6 a.m., no problem. I can throw, I'm going to tell you exactly what I've been making, because maybe somebody else out there is struggling with this. I've been getting a 1.5 pound chuck roast, putting in the crock pot, salting and peppering the hell out of both sides, and then a bag of mini carrots, organic mini carrots, 1 pound, and I just use half of that. So a half a pound of mini carrots. I have been getting a 24-ounce bag of the little like teeny yellow potatoes and putting half of those in there. And then, the store already has diced onions. So I've just been getting, I think the thing I've been getting is 7 ounces. So it's like half of that. I've been putting half of a diced onion container in there and a couple of chopped cloves of garlic. And if you were too lazy, you could just get the diced garlic that comes in a jar and like put in a couple tablespoons of that. And then just salt the hell out of the whole thing again, put it on high, and it just sits there. And 7 hours later, I think halfway through, I kind of like stirred it around a little bit, but you just leave the lid on. You don't have to check it. Like 7 hours later, 6 hours later, when you put your spoon in and it goes straight through the meat and the meat is just like falling apart. It is the most delicious, unbastardized, wholesome food. And I have literally made a pot roast every 3 days since, it's been about a month. So I've been eating like a decent sized serving of this every day for a month. And I started buying grapes and washing them and bagging them in little single servings so they stay good for long. I've been eating grapes, and I have peanuts and stuff in my office. And I started crock potting an enormous sweet potato. Just put a couple pats of butter on top and bottom, wrap the whole thing in foil, throw it in the crock pot for like 7 hours on high, and then just put a shitload of butter on it. It is the tastiest. I mean, like, so my point is I've mostly eliminated all of the trash I was eating. And I'm really wondering if that's where this energy is coming from. Because you're in a body, everyone in the manifesting community, especially the people that have nothing to show for it, want to tell you how like anything that you do with your body is a farce, and like you don't understand the concept of you are the creator of your reality, and like you're creating all of this. If you pay any attention to your body, like you should just eat garbage and not care, you know? And they often cite Neville Goddard as the source for this, when Neville Goddard drank himself to death. He died of cirrhosis of the liver. Anyway, okay, I'm going to end this here before I get too fired up about it, but it's okay to pay attention to your body. You know what I mean? You got to work with where you are. And if you try to go too far outside of what you're comfortable with mentally, it'll just be failure. It'll be backtracking, because then you'll decide that this is all just fake. And the mundane, random, cruel world that you used to think you were living in is the actual reality. All right. So anyway, yeah, I hope if you make a pot roast, comment to me. It is so easy and it is so good. And it's actually kind of cheap too. Especially, it's like $7. Probably could be cheaper if you didn't use organic stuff, because I used an organic chuck roast and organic carrots, and yeah, I didn't even put any liquid in it, by the way. You just put the whole thing in. The onions and the carrots sweat and create a broth, a delicious broth. Have a great day.